everybody, and welcome to The Price of Beauty, Ocular Aesthetics in Modern Optometry. When you signed up for this class today, I'm sure you thought we were going to talk about makeup. Well, that's true, and we're also going to talk about face wash, cosmetic and beauty treatments that are gaining popularity across the country, and products that both men and women use around their eyes. All of these products and treatments are applied within the ocular adnexa, and they can have significant ocular surface side effects. So whether you're a man or a woman, our patients count on us to be a knowledgeable resource about everything they use around their eyes. I'm Jennifer Lyerly. I'm an optometrist in Cary, North Carolina, and back in 2011, I started an optometry blog called Idolatry. It focused on doctor-approved resource articles that patients could access anytime to learn about their ocular issues. As a new doctor, I was very prepared for many of my patients' questions like, why do I have to hold my cell phone so far away? Or why am I seeing floating spots in my vision? What I wasn't prepared for was all the questions I kept getting asked about beauty products. People were asking me what mascara was best, why their eyelids were swollen and red when they used eyeliner. Because it was so apparent that my patients wanted my opinion as a doctor on these cosmetic decisions, I dedicated a lot of time researching and writing articles on the topic. This led to a lot of great opportunities to appear in optometric publications, but also to provide a doctor's voice in articles meant for the general public. I was able to work with the Oprah magazine and even got a quote in BuzzFeed article about the lash growth serum lawsuits that were filed earlier this year. In optometry, we always talk about how we can reach the public in a larger way, and being an expert on ocular surface products, treatments, and their side effects, it's an excellent way for us to bridge that gap and reach more people. Because the truth is, there are a lot more people in America buying, researching, and exploring beauty products than there are those interested in traditional eye care or looking up eye care articles. Americans spend a lot on beauty products, and research shows the amount they are spending is increasing rapidly. In 2017, Amazon reported luxury beauty product sales were up 47% year over year, the top growing category in all of the products they offer on their platform. So let's bust the myth right away here. It's not just women buying cosmetics and beauty products. In 2017, the average American woman spent $3,756 a year on beauty products and treatments, and the average man spent $2,928. Over their lifetime, that's $225,000 for women and about $175,000 for men. The beauty industry is a huge industry and growing. So to get that kind of yearly spend, it's clear both sexes are using a lot of different products. Think just for a minute about how many products are in your daily routine. Even if you're a minimalist type of person, you probably have a face wash, a lotion, maybe you're using an under eye or a wrinkle cream. I haven't even added in any makeup products yet. So how do we and the average American decide what products we buy? This is a question that really should be on our minds. The boom of product purchases has been led recently by the age of social media, and we are constantly exposed to new beauty products and treatments from influencers in our circles. You guys might recognize one of the biggest influencers in optometry here pictured below, Dr. Ari Fartash. Her alter ego Glam Optometrist on Instagram has over 50,000 followers. She's routinely posting about beauty products and treatments from the perspective of a specialist in ocular health. But how many people are getting recommendations from an influencer that's also an optometrist? Well, research shows that the overwhelming majority of Americans are getting advice from sources that aren't exactly ocular experts. 75% of pharmacists report they get asked by patients about beauty products and their side effects. 65% of millennials say their most trusted source of information is beauty influencers on social media. And this is a market that's insanely competitive. 526 million posts are appearing on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter concerning beauty every single day. That is a lot of information, or let's face it, misinformation. The average beauty influencer might not be giving out the best advice. Tight lining, where you apply eyeliner directly to the waterline, smothering over those meibomian gland openings, well, that's far and away the most popular beauty influencer method of makeup application. You'll find thousands of tutorials for how to do this online. And I'm not even mentioning on there the zany do-it-yourself ideas. So take this teenager who's had over 1 million people watch her make and wear mascara from crushed Oreos. I wish I could tell you this is an outlier, but if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, search making your own mascara on YouTube. You're going to have nightmares for the next year. Take home here is our patients need us. We need to embrace being the experts. So let's start with the basics of what we need to know. At first, I want to talk about just common cosmetics, preservatives that are in common cosmetics, and their ocular surface impact. So let's get some of the basics of these concepts down. All right, I want to start with one of them that most of us are going to be super familiar with, and that's benzalkonium chloride, or BAK. This preservative is found in many of the products that we prescribe, from glaucoma drops to Latisse. Red eye drops like Visine, and yes, Lumify too, they contain it. But what you might not know is that it's super prevalent in beauty products as well. BAK can be found in eyeliner, mascaras, makeup removers, and face washes. So we've got a lot of study data on BAK, and yes, studies have shown at even very small concentrations, BAK is toxic to the cornea. Look at the images to the left of the rabbit endothelial cells. So at this study, even at 0.01% BAK drops applied just twice a day for a week, you can see clear cell morphology changes in the rabbit eye cells. Research has shown that concentrations of BAK as low as 0.0025% can cause corneal damage. Eye drops typically have concentrations of 0.004% to 0.02%, just as a comparison point. No surprise, based on this information, that studies have shown a significant amount of our glaucoma patients have dry eye and ocular surface disease. Study back in 2013 saying 41.6% of glaucoma patients using BAK. There's a ton of other studies out there too that kind of estimated around that 50% mark. But BAK is not the only preservative that we need to be on the lookout for and educating our patients about. Let's talk about a separate category. These are the formaldehyde-releasing preservatives, and they are extremely common. You can find them in shampoos, lotions, face washes, and soaps. Yes, that includes baby shampoo, which you see a picture of here, which is just one of the reasons why many ocular surface specialists and dry eye specialists, both optometry and in ophthalmology, they're becoming increasingly vocal about why they don't recommend baby shampoo for patients with chronic blepharitis. There are a lot of formaldehyde-releasing preservatives out there, and they have very long, complicated names. I've listed a few of them here. Quaternium 15 is one of the more common ones, and so that's an easy one for us as docs to be on the lookout for. But I think giving a list of formaldehyde-releasing preservatives and paperwork or stuff that you're giving out to patients is not a bad idea, because they're going to go by so many different names. Here it is, Quaternium 15. Got it circled, hiding on the back of Johnson & Johnson's baby shampoo. I want you also to look really closely at eyelid cleansing wipes, makeup removing wipes, things that have surfactants and soap up that we're recommending for patients to use. That's in OcuSoft wipes as well, so just something to be aware of. Why should we care? Studies show that concentrations of formaldehyde-releasing preservatives at more than 0.2% are associated with contact dermatitis, ocular surface irritation, and allergic skin and conjunctival reactions. You'll notice that last bullet point I put a question mark beside, because the relationship between these types of preservatives and different types of cancers is a topic of a lot of debate. All the research on this is correlational, but even if you don't feel like cancer is a real risk here, dermatitis and ocular surface disease risk factors definitely are. There are no regulations in the US on the concentration of these preservatives in over-the-counter products. In Europe, the concern over these side effects has led them to restrict all prescription and over-the-counter products to concentrations under that 0.2% number. In the US, we don't have that kind of regulation at this point. All right, parabens. This is one that you might have been hearing about more recently because it's getting more and more steam educating the general public about looking for parabens and what parabens do. Parabens are preservatives, and like we talked about, with the rise of the organic beauty market, the general public is becoming increasingly aware of them. They're commonly found in makeup like eyeliner and mascara, also in lotions and deodorants. why parabens have garnered so much negative attention is because of a 2004 study that was looking at women with breast cancer. It showed that parabens can penetrate human skin and actually mimic estrogen within our bodies. So in a review of these patients with breast cancer in that study, 95% of them were found to have traces of 5 or more types of parabens in their breast tissue. But again, this links to potential cancer. That's a contentious topic of conversation because we're talking about a correlational study. That study did not prove causation. So as eye doctors, I think a bigger thing for us to be aware of when we talk about parabens is that there's been a linkage shown between parabens and dry eye disease. So when we think about they're mimicking estrogen within our body, these parabens can actively decrease the release of meibum oil from the meibomian glands. And we know from a lot of our dry eye research that sex hormones like estrogen can have impact on dry eye disease. And that's one of the reasons why we think menopause is such a risk factor for dry eye disease. Remember about parabens too. These are preservatives that are found in eyeliners and mascaras very commonly. So our patients are placing them right at the waterline, right where the meibomian glands are, and we have research that suggests that it's disrupting meibum flow. So this is a pretty big risk factor for us to be aware of. Which, talking about dry eye disease risk factors here brings me to one of the fastest growing beauty treatments of the past few years, eyelash growth serums. So the only prescription lash growth serum on the market right now is Latisse. And it's the only one that we have FDA studies that show us potential side effect profiles. I think you guys are probably very familiar with the fact that Latisse is a prostaglandin analog, and it's kind of piggybacking, taking advantage of the fact that our patients using prostaglandin glaucoma medications were getting these long, luscious eyelashes, really thick, really dark. And so that side effect, was kind of like, oh, maybe that's positive for certain people that want longer, thicker, darker lashes. And so it was marketed for its cosmetic outcomes and kind of repackaged in a different concentration as Latisse. How Latisse is used, it's applied to the lashes once daily, and it needs about 4 months to achieve maximum results. So we've got FDA studies on this again. 4% of users have side effects with Latisse that include itching, redness, watering, allergic eyelid swelling, darkening of the skin and iris, and atrophy of the orbital fat around the eye, causing that kind of sunken eyelid appearance. You might be thinking, well, that's only 4%. But when that person's sitting in your chair and using a product that you've prescribed or recommended and then suddenly having really horrible dry eye, that's something that we need to be aware of. Or maybe they're bad dry eye sufferers already, and that's something that we need to really think about before we're putting a product that may exacerbate on the surface of the eye. This picture here to the left, this is a blogger named Kate Bryan. She's a very popular beauty blogger that runs a blog called the Small Things blog. And she wrote an article a few years ago about using Latisse, and she had really significant eyelid swelling, a lot of redness with its use. So what's worse about this story is her poor experience with Latisse led her to try an even potentially more toxic treatment. She went to eyelash perming treatments because she wasn't educated about the side effects she might experience on either treatment option from an eye care professional. We're going to talk about lash perming later on in this presentation, but these kind of examples where we've got bloggers out there educating the public and then educating them, they're saying like, oh, I had these side effects, it's even better if you use this, and that we know is this alternative treatment is even dangerous, maybe even more so in the danger zone. This is where the danger comes in of beauty bloggers being the main sources for expert advice to our patients about these treatments, treatment options, side effects of all the beauty products out there. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of potential harm being done if we're not owning this space. As eye doctors, we know prostaglandins cause dry eye and meibomian gland disease. It's not just the BAK preservatives at fault in our glaucoma drops and why so many of our glaucoma patients have really bad dry eye. Prostaglandins themselves are pro-inflammatory. They work by stimulating that inflammatory cascade. So when we're promoting inflammation on the ocular surface, we're disrupting the homeostasis of the tear film and causing production changes at each layer of the tear film. The graph you see here is from a 2015 study presented at the World Glaucoma Congress. It showed a shocking 91.7% of patients treated with prostaglandin analog drops for glaucoma had concomitant meibomian gland disease. Compare that only to 57.7% of patients being treated for glaucoma on a different category of medication. So we know that prostaglandins in and of themselves, with or without BAK, are kind of pro-inflammatory, causing meibomian gland dysfunction and dry eye risk factors for sure.